All right, in this video, I'm going to go over how to enable memory tiering in VCF 9.0.2. I'm going to do this on a per host basis. So obviously, the first thing that you need is to install a storage device. Needs to be an NVMe flash device. There's some specs on the uh, documents page that talk about I/O requirements and durability requirements for this. Each of these hosts that we're working with in this lab have 256 gigs of memory. I've installed a Samsung Evo 970 Pro inside a PCIe slot. So there's an adapter that converts it from NVMe to PCIe, and then it's loaded into the chassis. First thing you need to do is put the host in maintenance mode. So you can see here, I've already done that. You right click on the host, enter maintenance mode. That way there's no virtual machines running on it. We can reboot it as needed. The second thing is to make sure your storage device is showing up and has no partitions. So I click on my host here, come over to configure, you can see the storage adapters here. If I go to storage devices, I should get a list of my disks. So these 900 gig disks are my NVMe disks that are participating in my vSAN storage. This 256 gig disk here is the boot drive that has ESXi installed on it. And this disk right here, the Samsung SSD 970 Pro 512 gig, is actually the one that I want to use as a memory tiering drive. So the first thing, once you've got that drive installed and it's actually coming up, is you need to check it for partitions. And you can see here, previously I had used this as part of another lab, vSAN, ESA, and it was the cache tier. These partitions all need to be deleted. So you want to start with no partitions on the drive. So if you come in here, make sure you've got the right drive. I'm going to come up here and click erase partitions. It's going to show us the partitions that are getting erased. I'm going to click OK. You can see that executed relatively quickly. If we refresh now and I look at partitions, partition format unknown, there's no partitions basically found. So at this time, we have a drive that we want to use for memory tiering that's completely empty, no partitions. And for this next part, we actually need to go into command line. So make sure you have SSH turned on your host. You can do that under the services. It's disabled by default. I've already turned it on. This is ESXi 01. We're going to SSH into that host. Bring this down here. I'm going to log in as root. And you can see here we've got our command prompt on the ESXi host. Let me make this a little bit wider. The first thing we need to do is find the find the drive, because it's going to have a rather long name here that we're going to have to reference. So there's a couple commands that you can do: ESXCLI storage core adapter device list will list the drives there. You can see here we've got these, which are the ones that are loaded into the front bays. That are my vSAN drives. We've got this one here that is the boot drive down here, and then there's our Samsung T10.NVMe with all these underscores, etc. Another place to look is where the VMFS device list and disk drives are listed. So if we do this command, so I usually just change directory to VMFS devices and then disks. And if we do a ls here, you'll see all of the list here. Again, in this list, this is the drive that we want right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this so that I have this name on my clipboard. And then we need to create a new tier device partition. So we have this device that's empty. We're going to create a partition on it. That command is ESXi system here device dash create. Sorry, not dash. Create dash D. And then we have to give it the fully qualified path. So VMFS, devices, disks. I can type a couple characters, hit tab to autocomplete, and then I'm going to paste my full device path in and hit enter. If it completes successfully, it should just return without an error like we did there. And now we can see if it shows up in our tier device list. So we'll do ESX CLI system tier device list. And indeed it is listed there. You can see the partition ID, start sector, end sector. Essentially at this point, we have everything done we need to do at the ESX command line. So I'm just going to minimize this. The next step is actually to come in and on the host in vCenter enable memory tiering now that we have a memory tiering partition created. So that you have to do in advanced system settings. So here under configure, come down to advanced system settings, and there's just lots of system settings here. You can actually filter them. I'm going to go ahead and hit the edit first before I apply the filter, and then I like to search for tier or tiering. We search for tier, there's a couple different parameters here. The first is vmkernel.boot.memory tiering, which is false right now. We're going to change that to true. Another one that's of interest to us, I'm not going to change it from default, is mem.tier NVMe PCT. That's how much percentage compared to physical memory you want to enable for memory tiering. So 100% means these hosts have 256 gigs of memory. That means we will go up to 256 gigs of memory tier swap as well. You could go 50%, which would give you 128 gigs. You could go, I think, up to 400%. I really wouldn't suggest going that high, but in either case, the default should be pretty good. The system kind of manages how it uses that. In fact, you don't use memory tiering at all until you basically completely deplete your physical memory. So we're going to hit OK, apply these settings, and then if we go back to summary, at this point the host has memory tiering enabled, but it has to be rebooted to apply. So I'm going to go ahead and right click here. We're going to go to power and do reboot, enter reason, enable memory tiering. Okay. I'm going to kick back over to DRAC, which is my remote access control, so that we can look at the console on this machine. So you can see I have an ESXi console up, but unfortunately that's host 4. We're working on host 1. I figured this out after watching it not do anything for a minute, and I have this sped up. We're popping over to host 1, and you can see it just started rebooting after we told it to reboot from vCenter. So this video is sped up, goes through the boot process, and you can see as it's starting up, it shows 256 gigs of memory. Once everything loads and the memory tiering setting kicks in, it'll actually report. See right there, popped up to 510.9 gigabytes of memory in the console, because it's counting the memory tier as system memory as well. This will be also reflected if we go back to vCenter. So you can see here, we go back over to vCenter. There's the host showing 256 because it hasn't refreshed. Move over to somewhere else and then come back, and there it is, 510.93 gigs of memory, counting the memory tier. So we have successfully applied the memory tier setting. We can now exit maintenance mode, put that host back into production, and continue the process with any of our hosts. Hope you've enjoyed this video and look forward to speaking with you on the next one. Goodbye.